Hello. Hello, everybody. Looks like I am Yep, I am live now. My name is Kristen Brown, and I help people heal from dysfunctional, painful, and lopsided relationship patterns. That is my life's work. That is my passion. That is my inspiration. And that, frankly, is my joy. And one of my greatest joys is getting on here live with you all because I get to interact with my community. And the reason why I decided on this topic today is because I'm not sure how I came across it, but I came across a short. And my shorts, they get the typical shorts type of views, but this short had some crazy number like 6,300 views. And I was like, okay, people must really want to know about this. And the title of that short was Why Your Ex Moved On So Quickly. And I thought about that and I thought, a lot of things that people are looking for or the topics that tend to really blow up on my channel are really these super pain points that people are in, like why somebody doesn't want them, how to stop chasing somebody that doesn't want you, how to get over somebody, all these type of unrequited love situations. So I understand first and foremost how painful this is because I am not new to relationships by any means. I am not new to any of these type of things. I've been around my moon, or my sun has been around my earth quite a few times in my life, and I've been through a lot of experiences, and I know how painful these things are. I also know that there's ways to heal from these things. I know that a lot of times we will get stuck in a certain type of perception, and that perception can be incredibly painful. And when we stay stuck in a certain type of perception, we can keep going down the same path for a really long time. But that's not what needs to happen, because you are a beautiful, gorgeous, glorious, amazing, unique individual aspect of our divine creator, and you have so much to give to life, and life has so much to give to you. And even though you might be really upset right now, you might be sad, you might feel like it's never going to get any better. If you hear anything from this broadcast today, I want you to understand that life's not over for you. And just because somebody moved on does not mean that you're done and that there's never going to be another amazing somebody in your life. So, why I wanted to come on today and speak to you guys live about this is because I want you guys to be able to heal from this. I want you to move forward. I want you to see things in a different perspective because, as you know, I say many times on this channel that if you're going down one trajectory, just a slight shift in perception can send you in a whole different direction, which is going to give you the most amazing experience in your life that you have not yet had yet. And that's why you're on here. That's why you're researching these topics. That's why you're going to jump on this live or watch it on the recording afterwards. Whatever it may be for you, is you're searching for an answer. And I will tell you this hands down 100%, that the things that I have healed from in my life, the things that I have risen above and have are because I asked questions. Why is this happening? Why did that happen? What did I do wrong? Did I do something wrong? Is it the other person? What do I need to know? What do I need to heal from? It was these type of questions that catapulted me into different directions, to different streams of consciousness, to more information that started to make sense, and it started to move me through life in a way that was more empowered and more settled and more grounded so that I could make better decisions for myself. So, with that being said, I do have a set of notes to the side here because these broadcasts are typically quite long, and I want to be sure that I don't miss anything. I just write really quick outline about what it is that I want to cover. So, if you are just tuning in, I would super appreciate if you would put in the comments below where you are from. Where are you tuning in from? I get fascinated to see in my analytics where people are from, India, Germany, Spain, Australia, the UK, United States, Canada, all of these amazing places, and even more where people are tuning in from. So it's the beauty of the internet. So thank you for being here, and let's get started. The first thing that I want to share with you all is that what I'm going to share with you, there is no one size fits all. So if you're getting on here and you're like, I hope that she can talk to me directly and she can give me the exact answer. Unfortunately, I can't, because there's so many dynamics at play when it comes to relationships, because There's two individual people that are coming in with two completely different sets of DNA. And by the way, no one else will ever share your exact particular set of DNA. So what makes up you is very unique and individualized. And then you're joining with another person, and theirs is very unique and individualized, just the way they're physically made, the way they think. Then you factor in histories and past experiences. That's going to change you into a way that is even more uniquely you and this person as well. Then you put in morals and values and religious upbringings and politics and how many deaths people have experienced, or all of these things that we have gone through in our life. And we have two completely so different individuals that have come together for a relationship, and in that relationship they are forming their own dynamic. Plus you add in people's wounding, all the wounds from their past, all the things they've acquired, all their false beliefs and negative beliefs, all their conditioned patterns or coping mechanisms. When you add all these things together, I mean, there is nothing else like your relationship with this particular person. So I want you to keep that in your mind first and foremost, because everybody that you are going to relationship with, you're going to have a different experience than somebody else that would relationship with that person. That is why many times we are having a certain experience of a certain person, and then somebody else goes, well, I don't have that experience of that person at all. It's because of all these dynamics that are at play. It's all these variables that come into play that are going to shift the way that we see things. It's going to be the lens through which we see the relationships. So keep that first and foremost in your mind, that there is no one size fits all here. Even though I know, I can't tell you how many times that I was banging my hands on the table, not literally, figuratively, or screaming out to God, or calling out for help and saying, please tell me what is happening here, because I need to know, because we want answers. But I will tell you, and I talk about this in other podcast episodes, that if you do connect with your higher power, with whatever you believe your Godiverse is for you, you're going to get answers that are specific and unique for you. Because, like I said, no one is experiencing the pathway that you are experiencing, the journey. Now, there are universal truths that are never changing. There is unconditional love of God universe that is never changing. However, you factor in the human factor, and that can change things up. So the very first thing that I want you to know is that there is no one size fits all, but I want you to be open to receiving right now in this broadcast. I would love for you to sit back in your chair, on your couch, on your sofa, wherever you're tuning in from. Take a deep breath and just know that all is well right now in the world as you listen to this. Open your heart and open your mind. Many times when we are in fear and we're scared and we're worried, we're so closed off. Our heart is just clenched and we can't bring in new information. And maybe the information hits up here in the brain, but it can't drop down into the heart when the heart is fearful. A fearful heart is like having armor around the heart. So it can't drop into your heart because your heart is blocking it. And it's within the heart that we will start to shift our energy and to resonate out different energy. But if we're blocking that, we can't have that experience. So I'm going to request or recommend or invite or encourage you to sit back, take a couple deep breaths as I'm speaking, relax your body. If you can, grab a notepad and piece of paper. If you're watching this on the replay, just hit pause for a second and just take some notes. Many times when I'm in meditation, I will have a pad of paper very similar to this next to me, and I have my pen and I have it situated in a way that I don't have to move if I start to get downloads and information from the other realms. And so when something comes in, because I don't want to get out of my meditative state, I'll just quickly jot it down so that I'll remember it, because as I'm moving through that meditative state, I might move on to other things and then I might forget it. But these are the ways that I have healed myself and have actually had spirit, God, universe, source come in and help me and assist me on my path, because I've opened my mind and heart to new perceptions, and then I will jot it down, and then I will focus on that and meditate on that thing too. So the number one fear that you are probably feeling right now is that you're not enough. You feel like there's just got to be something wrong with you because your ex moved on so fast. That's normal. That's natural, but it's not true. And it's a fear, it's that will hold us back. and it will hold us back in the biggest way because we're like, well, they moved down. It must mean that I'm not enough for them, that there must be something wrong with me. And this is part of the human experience. And this is part of the reason why we are here, because we come here and we're whole and perfect, but then society, parents, life, everybody out in the world gets to us. We start to feel like there's something wrong with us. We lose that sense of self, and then we seek out in the world to find it. Excuse me. And then it's not until we start on our healing journey that we start to return back to that sense of self. So there's nothing wrong with you that you think this. You're not going to. There's nothing wrong with you that you think this. There is nothing exclusively flawed about you that you're like, oh my gosh, there must be something wrong with me. And when we can join with other forces and with other people and other communities and experiences that have had the same things, we start to realize that it's not exclusive to us, that there's certain things in life that we all feel. And feeling this kind of sense of rejection is what I guess I would call it. When somebody moves on quickly, we feel like we're kind of rejected. We're like, I must not have meant anything to that person because now they're off with so and so, whether it be a male or a female. And that's the other thing, is that it doesn't matter where you're on the scale of your gender, that we all experience these type of things. And I want you to know first and foremost that it's not you. It's not that there's something wrong with you exclusively, that you are exclusively flawed, and that your person just was like, oh my God, that person's terrible. I have to move on with somebody else. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that maybe there wasn't things that you or me or somebody brought to the relationship that were unhealthy, that maybe the person didn't enjoy, and vice versa. That's part of the equation as well. But that's not what we're focusing on right now. Right now, I'm going to share with you all the 6 potential possible reasons that your ex moved on quickly. And I'm saying potential and possible because, again, I don't know your story. I'm not coaching you. I'm not getting the ins and outs and the details of what went on in your relationship. I'm merely telling you that there's not a lot of super, complicated reasons why people move on quickly. So I'm hoping by you listening, I'm hoping that by you listening to this broadcast today, that you're going to be able to adopt an idea and say, okay, you know what? Maybe it isn't about me. Maybe this isn't about my worth. Maybe this isn't anything that I did. I will briefly tell you this story, that one time when this particular guy that I was hung up on like crazy, you've heard stories about him in my other broadcasts. Also, I tell the story about him in this book. It's Jacob. Okay, this is my new book that was published in April. It's called The Recovering People Pleaser: A Spiritual Guide to Reclaim Your True Worth and Attract the Love You Deserve. And I put the link down here in the chat if you guys are interested in this book. It's an amazing book. It's in Kindle, also in softback. It's a great read. And anyway, lots of my personal stories in here. And I talk about him in this, and he pretty much rejected me. Now, I don't know whether he moved on with somebody else. Actually, he did at one point. He did. Okay, but that was later. But I remember thinking, I wasn't good enough for you. In fact, we had met and had a conversation. And I remember just looking at him like, how dare you? Like, I'm the greatest thing. And he told me I was the greatest thing. So why all of a sudden am I not good enough? So that's one of the things that we're going to constantly think, is that there's something wrong with us. And you must know that there's too many dynamics at play here. So let's go into why I'm saying this to you guys, why I'm on here today, is because I want you guys to be in a better position so that you can drop any painful and limiting beliefs that you're carrying around. Because that is like carrying around an 80-pound backpack all day, every day. Let's just throw a couple of blankets on top too. Okay. You're not going to be able to see life correctly. And I'm saying capital C correctly, like through the eyes of God, through the lens of love, if you're carrying around all this fear and all this heaviness because of these painful and limiting beliefs. So I'm hoping today you're going to have a perception shift that's just going to like snap, snap, snap. It's just going to wake you up. It's going to make you excited to go on, continue on through your life after this broadcast, because you're going to be like, you know what? I don't need to think it's about me anymore, because it's really not. So the other reason why I am on here sharing this with you guys today is, if you do continue thinking that you're not enough, then you're going to be right. You're going to think you're not enough, then you're right. Because what'll happen, not meaning that you're right, not enough, but that you will continually to get that mirrored back to you. Because the feeling of not enough is a energetic frequency, and whatever we're resonating out into the cosmos is exactly what we're going to get back to us. There's no question about this. This has now been proven scientifically through the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza and other amazing researchers out in the world today. So your relationships will mirror back to you what you think about yourself. So by me getting on here today and talking to you all because I love you and I care about you, I care about people. You might be thinking, well, you don't even know me, Kristen. Well, no, I don't need to know you to care about you because I love humanity. I love human beings. And I don't, from a small, small, small young age, I hated to see people in pain. And that's part of my backstory of why I became an influencer and a coach and a speaker and an author and pushed way, way outside my comfort zone with public speaking to do these things because I care about people and it promoted me to do this for you. So, what I'm hoping is that you're going to have this perception shift that is going to move you away from there's something wrong with me. I'm not enough. Nobody cares. I don't matter. I'm invisible. No one's going to love me. Any of the false and limiting beliefs that you have swirling around so that you can start to work backwards and you can start to reclaim your personal power. Hopefully, you'll even purchase this book because I have all the healing methods in this book. Like this is a complete guide on how to stop being a recovering people pleaser, how to heal your true worth. That's why I use the words true worth in the subtitle because that is what we're returning back to. And when you know your true worth and your true value, you are going to resonate that out into the universe and you are going to naturally attract people to you who start to see, recognize, appreciate, value, love, and honor your true worth. Okay, so I'm going to take a sip of my drink. Okay, my unsweetened green tea. The first reason, now some of these might feel a little owie to you, but that's just because you are a little raw right now. It's because you are still in the healing mode. You know, it's kind of like when we get a big scratch. Like, have you ever wiped out on your bike when you were a kid and you get a little road rash? And it's just this open wound, and then if someone touches it or sometimes even air touches it, or have you ever had a sunburn and just even air touching your sunburn hurt? For this fair-skinned Arizona girl, I've had my share of sunburns. And you might be a little raw right now, but just relax, okay? Just let yourself breathe through these things because you're feeling something. And there's nothing wrong with the way you're feeling because there are no wrong emotions. But I want you to be able to put a balm on yourself, to really just let yourself feel into what you're going to hear. And don't think, again, don't allow yourself to go back to the point that there's something wrong with you. All right, so the first thing could be is that this person may not have been fully invested in you in the first place. I've had this, I've dealt with this. It doesn't feel great. I didn't like it. But then I realized that it really wasn't about me. Because when I took a step back and I really watched those people and I watched the way they were in our relationship and I watched the way they were in other relationships and I watched the patterns of their life, I realized that this person couldn't fully show up for me. They couldn't be completely fully in and invested in me because they were not fully in and invested in themselves. They were so fractured away from their authentic self that they were out there looking in the world for somebody to make them feel better. Okay. And then in walks me or you or someone else. It doesn't even matter, you guys. If the person I'm speaking of that wasn't fully invested, I was with that person for 6 years. Okay. You might be thinking, well, I was with him for 10 years. They were invested. I married mine. Okay. I was married to mine for 4. I think we were together for 2 and married for 4, not fully invested. And to be honest, I could there was a weird energy that I was feeling from him, but I couldn't quite figure it out. I didn't really know what I was dealing with. And so I kept going because it appeared he was invested. He was there all the time and, you know, showing up and doing the things and the phone calls and the moving in together and, getting on one knee and proposing marriage and all of these things. But there was something about him that I just felt like there was kind of this one foot out the door feeling. It was very, very strange. But when I say they're not fully invested in you, this doesn't mean there's something freaking wrong with you. There's nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong with me. I just attracted a person that was unhealed, a person that was unaware, a person that was not doing their healing work, a person that still believed they had to get their worth in the outside world. And so many times those people are going to come into our lives, especially if we're recovering people pleasers, because we tend to attract the users, abusers, jerks, narcissists, cheaters, all those unhealed people, because we're the savers and the givers and the overlovers and all these things and the nurturers. And so they love that because we make it all about them, right? But then at some point, we're going to recognize that the relationship is lopsided. And then that person's going to be like, ew, I have to give something back to you. I have to heal a part of myself. And they're not going to like that. So that might be, they're like, okay, this person is now making me feel bad. See what I'm saying? Because they're dependent on the outside worth to make them feel worthy or not worthy. And at first, when you were giving, you were making them feel worthy. But then when you start going, "Hey, I matter too. Can I have a little something in this relationship as well?" Then they're like, and you're pointing out things that they're doing that are dysfunctional or painful or abusive or whatever it might be. Then all of a sudden, like, and they want to go find somebody else to fill that void. So you could have been just a convenience for them. You could have been a space filler. You could have been, I remember in the case of my tsunami ex, which was my narcissistic ex, he actually said to me, "Oh, good. You're catching me up to where I should be in life." And I was like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "Well, married with children and a house." Okay, so the house was mine, the kids were mine until we had our own together, our one child together. But I remember thinking like, "What?" But I didn't know any better. So I didn't realize that really I was just a person that he thought was going to make him look good. All right. So if they weren't fully invested in you, and guess what he did? Of course, he had something lined up before we were even over. And I sensed that and I smelled it. But again, I was much younger. I didn't really know what was happening. I didn't have the knowledge and wisdom that I do in this arena than I do now. And I have this knowledge and wisdom now is because I've done the work and I have figured so much stuff out and I have completely shifted my life, changed my energy, and have a amazing relationship with a man, my husband, Doug, who is just loves me and dotes on me and makes me feel like I'm the one that he's been waiting for, right? But I hadn't had that prior to this experience. So what I want you to know is that even if you're like, you know what, maybe he or she wasn't fully invested in me. Maybe I was just a space holder for this person. Maybe I was just a warm body, whatever it might be. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. Okay. Don't allow yourself to go back and say, but if I was more, but if I was better. All right. It has nothing to do with you because if someone's not fully invested in you and they're actually taking up your time, months, years, marriage, even kids, but they're just not fully invested for whatever reason, that's not on you, sis and bro. That's not on you. That's on them. What kind of psyche, what kind of wounded person would do something like that? Okay. They're just going to hang around and kind of use you, so to speak, because they're feeling some type of way. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. So their lack of investment, again, don't make this about you. The second thing that could possibly be potentially, possibly, maybe be the reason, because you got to process this within yourself, why this person why your ex moved on so quickly could be a coping mechanism of theirs. This could be that they're not a person who processes their emotions. They don't feel through their emotions. And if it's done, it's just done. And their coping mechanism is distraction. So they go find somebody else. They don't even get to know this person. Let's say it wasn't because they had someone on the side. It's just because they didn't know this person. And they're like, "Oh, this person's good enough. Let me fill my void with this person. It didn't work with you, but I'm going to fill my void with this person." Now, keep in mind, it's the same person that was with you is now doing the same thing to them. If they moved on that quickly, it is not, I promise you, because they magically found this amazing unicorn of a person. All right. Again, you don't know the dynamics of that relationship. Maybe they are a narcissist and maybe this person is a stage 5 doormat. And so they just let him get away with murder. Who knows? We don't know what's going on here. But just because they moved on quickly doesn't mean it's about your worth. Okay, so many times they don't want to feel their own feelings, and a lot of people out in the world distract. Okay, they distract by things like overeating, sex addictions, drugs, alcohol, shopaholism, workaholism, working out aholism. I mean, there's a lot of things that people will do to distract themselves from feeling. All right, and it could be that they're just going out and grabbing the first available somebody out there because they don't want to process their emotions. Now, if you're someone and you're like, like I feel like I just got this download, I can get these feelings sometimes that either the person watching right now or the people that are going to, someone that's going to watch is going to go, "Oh my God, this makes sense to me." because my person did not process their emotions. I couldn't have a deep conversation with them to save my life. Everything was superficial and topical. And if I brought up something meaningful that would help to heal a relationship, this person either yelled at me or bolted or abandoned the conversation and didn't want to talk about it. So if you're dealt with somebody like that and they moved on quickly, trust me, that person is not healed. They have not done their healing work. So they're just repeating the pattern that they did with you. And if anything, this is going to sound counterintuitive, but I have sent love to the relationships that happened after me. Okay. When my ex, tsunami ex slash narcissist, moved on, I was like, oh, this poor girl. She probably doesn't know what she just ended up with. Okay. So keep that in mind. Again, we're hurting because we think it's about our worth. We're hurting because we think they moved on because there's something wrong with us. That's not always the case. Okay. The next reason is something that you may not have heard, even if you've researched this. Hold on. Okay. This person that moved on so quickly could be dissatisfied with life in general. Okay. What that means is they themselves are not internally happy. Now, people that cannot make themselves happy, that are not internally happy, that can't naturally find joy. I don't mean they're in joy all the time because that's unsustainable, but people that are naturally happy and, self-aware and find their own happiness and they move on through life and they're not that way. Okay. So this person is just dissatisfied with life in general. And they may still be of the mindset, whether it's conscious or unconscious, that they need to find happiness outside of themselves. So you or me may not have been the one to make them happy because we can't. It's not our job. We have no power there, just like nobody has any power to make us happy. Okay. So because you or I did not make this person happy, separate people, I don't know your guy or your girl, they think, oh, somebody else will. Okay. And so what happens is when they first meet somebody else, what happens, y'all? Say it with me. It's exciting. So they might meet somebody else and they're excited. And it's that new phase of the relationship where you're getting to know somebody and it feels good. And it's like, ooh, are they going to call me? Or I wonder if they like me, or waiting for the first kiss, or all these exciting things that happen in the beginning of the relationship. Now, we'll tell you something. This is a great story. This is another personal story. I had this guy that, if you can be in love in fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, I was in love. And I, knowing now what I know about love, I would say that was love, because in fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, I had the mad crush on this guy. All right. And let me call him, let me make up a name for him. La, 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 la. I'll call him Neil. Okay. I had this mad crush on him. And he tried, okay, well, I don't want to tell too much of the story because I'll get off topic, which is typical for me. But moving forward through life after my after my first divorce, Neil came back into my life. I don't remember how it was. So I don't even remember because we didn't have Facebook and stuff then. But he came back into my life out of nowhere. I had not seen him. He didn't go to our 10-year reunion, nothing. I hadn't seen him. And man, the first time I saw his face, it was there he was, my little Neil, my fourth, fifth, and sixth grade crush. And I never saw him, by the way, through seventh and eighth grade or through high school, even went through the same schools because I don't know, just the way life was, we didn't cross paths. And oh my gosh. And so we kind of started seeing each other a little bit, but he was very elusive about his relationship status. He had a woman that he had been with long term. They had had two children, but she had recently moved about an hour and a half from where we were living. And so I was like, well, you in this relationship? Like what? And he kind of wouldn't really tell me. And, I felt already close to him because I'd known him for so long, but he kind of really wouldn't tell me, sort of beat around the bush. And being the people pleasing doormat that I was at the time, I didn't push the limits. I didn't ask more questions. And at some point along that, us seeing each other, he said to me one day, he hung up the phone with me and he said, blah, 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 okay, talk to you later. I love you. And I was like, what? And I think I mentioned to him later, or must have been on the phone, I said, "You said I loved you. I love you." He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I mean, did you mean that? Like, what's this all about?" And he goes, "Well, to be honest with you, I was just trying it on for size." I'm not kidding you. That's what he said to me. "I'm trying it on for size. I wanted to see how it felt to say that with you." Okay. I thought that was kind of strange, right? And then at some point in the conversation or relationship, he said to me, "I'm in love with the," I forgot his exact terms, but like the dating phase of a relationship, which is really the lust phase of the relationship. He goes, love, I'm addicted to the lust phase of relationships." And I remember thinking, he likes all this excitement, all this newness, all this getting to know you. Are they gonna call me? Are they gonna show up? The attention. And I was like, oh my gosh. By the way, this particular guy, I went to his house a couple times and he had empty bottles, alcohol bottles in his shower. Okay. Later find out he's an alcoholic. He drinks a lot. So I'm starting to uncover these things with him and I'm realizing, and he was someone that just kind of faded out too and moved on, I guess, quickly. But he was someone I was like, he's just straight up dissatisfied with life. He's struggling in life. So just because I wasn't the one, even though it would have been a really cute romance and, great story, uh, lifetime type story that we knew each other in grade school and then ended up together, it would have been a great story. However, I didn't take it personally because I watched it from the outside and remember thinking, this guy hasn't done any healing work. He hasn't really worked on himself. He's still struggling through life. And it has nothing to do with me. So a person just may be dissatisfied with life in general. They can't get themselves happy. And because you weren't the one to make them happy, which is oftentimes a misnomer, it's things that we think we can do. We think we can make somebody happy. We see it in the movies all the time. I'm going to spend the rest of my life making you happy. I'm going to make you happy. I'm going to make you happy. And a person can only show up for part of our happiness, but we have to show up for the rest. And if we never show up for the rest, what they can show up for is never going to be enough. The rest of the work is ours. So your person may just be dissatisfied with life. And yeah, they moved on because they think they're going to find their happiness through someone else. All right. The next one, this one's not so fun. And this one smarts a little bit. And yet, again, it's saying more about them and less about you. Hold on while I get myself a little chapstick here, y'all. Okay. All righty. And this one is that they may have actually had somebody lined up before the relationship ended. And that can be painful because that means there was some type of cheating. Even if there wasn't physical cheating that was happening, there could be some type of emotional cheating that was happening. And that can make us feel like there's something wrong with us because most of the time when we are cheated on, the first thing we want to go to is, why wasn't I enough? And I will tell you something, that every single time that I was cheated on and that you're cheated on, it has nothing to do with you being enough. Remember back in the beginning of this broadcast when I was talking about the relationship dynamics, there's a lot at play here. There's a lot of variables involved. There's a lot of dynamics at play between two individuals. And just because your person chose to step outside the relationship doesn't mean that you are fatally flawed. There could be a lot of reasons, a lot of little things that are happening in there. Sometimes they're just chronic cheaters. Sometimes they're dissatisfied with life and they're looking for somebody else to fill their void to make them happy. Sometimes they just require a lot of attention. Narcissist, okay? They want it all about them all the time. And the second that it becomes about the other person in the relationship, which by the way is natural and normal, that we switch who it's about. Sometimes it needs to be about them. Sometimes it needs to be about you, okay? That's called balance. And that's called a very healthy relationship, right? When it's heavily weighted to one side where it's all about the other person all the side, this person's going to be left out into the dust, all right? This is what narcissists do. They want this incoming flux of energy and attention all the flippin' time. And if they don't get it, then they're going to go try to find it by someone else. My narcissistic ex, I came home one day. He didn't have anything nice to say about his previous girlfriend, but I came home one day. He was splayed out right smack in the middle of my king bed because he moved into my house on the phone, just chatting it up, laughing. Oh gosh, and just turning on the charm. And when I said to him, "Who are you talking to?" He just kind of fluffed me away. I'm like, "What the bleep?" Turned out he was talking to his ex-girlfriend. Just lay it out. Just, I'm like, "Why are you calling her?" I mean, we are new in this relationship. Why would he be calling her? Right? But I'm not a person that as opposed to people being friends with people because I'm friends with people. I'm not that kind of controlling because I wasn't threatened by it. I was more like, this is kind of odd, right? Well, then I discover other things. I could go on about those stories as well. Oh, I'll just tell you this one real quick because it's going to make sense. And people say they like my stories. So I'm going to share this with you. Is that when he was going through a particular branch of his flight training school, uh, for some reason, my car was in the shop or whatever, so I was driving his car and I had to go pick him up. And I remember I backed in and I parked right next to the front entrance. Here's the double doors that you come out, and I'm in this parking space right here. And he was like the first one out that door, practically flew out that door, got in the truck with me, and he's like, "Okay, go, 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 go." I didn't even think we were married yet, to be honest with you. "Go, go, go." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, I'm just ready to be out of here." And then by that time, people start coming out the doors. And I'm now I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see what this is all about. Like, well, let's go, like, go, go. Like he just robbed a bank. And that was question for me. That made me start to question. Apparently, there was one girl that was in his class, one female, and she was attractive, and he was bellying up to this girl. He was palling up to this girl, and he was reaching out to this girl. And apparently, there was other things that went on as well. That kind of faded out. Nothing ever became of that. But this is what I'm trying to say. Like sometimes people, you're just not enough because they are insatiable. They're narcissists and they need a lot of attention. Okay. Because we're all not perfect, but a somewhat healthy individual is going to take some time after a relationship to lick their wounds, to process, to come to some type of conclusion or neutral space or someplace that at least feels like, okay, I'm ready to move on and have another relationship. Even if the relationship ended on your terms. A lot of healthy people are going to say, I'm just not going to date right now for a little bit. But when someone does this, they're lining shit up while they're in the relationship with you. That ain't about you. Okay. That's about them. All right. And the next one is some people just might want the physical side of a relationship. Okay. They're moved on quickly because they want the physical side of a relationship. Again, that could be about attention, or that could be about sex addiction, or that could be about a person who does not want to commit to anybody. But in order sometimes to get people in the sack, they got to, pally up with this person and kind of feign like they're in some type of relationship with this person. And you'll see them everywhere and all these type of things. And so we, as the person on the outside, might think, okay, oh, they found their forever true love, when really they haven't. They just don't want to be single. Okay. They don't want to be alone. They want a warm body. All right. This is why I say, when you are entering into a new relationship, be sure that you're not the warm body that somebody's out there looking for. And I don't say this in any sort of armor or scariness. What I'm saying this is, don't jump in the sack with people too soon. Pay attention. How much are they willing to invest with you? Are they being authentic? Are they being super giving and loving and just like giddy when they see you and can't stop smiling and like, when's the next time I'm going to see you type of situation? Or are they trying to move the relationship on really, really quickly? Okay. Just pay attention. Those are like little flags that creep up. They're little indicators that there could be something, going on here. I certainly don't want to be someone's bed warmer. I'm sure you don't either, so that could be one of the reasons why your person moved on. So just keep that in mind going into the future, that you don't want to be that for somebody, as equally to I wouldn't like to see anybody be that for somebody. Okay. Because we all deserve love, respect, kindness, and reciprocal honor and respect as that we are given. Okay. And the last one could be that this is 6 of them, right? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay. The last one could be is that they just want to make you jealous. What is that? Okay. Once again, is that about your worth? No. I started off this broadcast talking about many times when people move on quickly, the first thing that we're thinking is that I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. All right. None of these things that I have listed right now have anything to do with that there's something wrong with you and you're not enough. You see what I'm saying? And if you're just jumping into the live stream now, I highly invite you to go back and watch this from the beginning because I lay this out in such a clear and concise way because I want you to heal. I want you to stop suffering and I want you to feel better so that you can reclaim your power. You can upgrade your energy, get your vibe high before you go out into the dating world again. Okay. They just might want to make you jealous. Now, this is really interesting because even though my tsunami ex moved on quickly and did have someone lined up that I mentioned a couple reasons ago, he did have something lined up. He, of course, acted like that wasn't true until one random day when he was probably alone and needed some attention. I get a text out of the blue that was meant for the other woman. Okay, now we had already separated, but I already knew this was going on prior. And I remember saying, I'm not sure you, he goes, "Oh, oops, wrong person." Okay. And I remember thinking to myself, I would not put it past him, knowing the type of person that he was, that he did that on purpose because he wanted to hurt me. Because hurt people want to hurt people. Okay. Not all the time they do. Sometimes hurt people just hurt people because they're hurting people, or wounded people wound people because they're wounded people. But sometimes people are just vindictive and nasty. And because I didn't acquiesce to his dysfunctional way of being and all the horrible things that he was bringing to a relationship, and of course he moved on to someone else, but I think he wanted to give, like, just give me that dig because she was the person that I had questioned a lot in the relationship. So of course it ended up being that person. But sometimes they just want to make you jealous. They want to make you mad, even if they were the toxic person. So moving on with this, I want to jump into having you really truly understand that any way that you look at it, moving on quickly, if someone moves on that quickly, like truly moves on that quickly, is not healthy. That is not a healthy individual. And so, this person that you might be thinking that you're missing out on, I'm going to ask you, are you really missing out on that person? Or did you dodge a bullet? Did Godiverse, that's my new word for God universe, did Godiverse make space in your life for something that's going to serve you because that relationship was not serving you? And those parts inside of you that feel like you're not enough, you were getting your value from that person, even though it may have only been scraps. Because someone that moves on super quickly, oftentimes the relationship is starting to fracture anyway. And that could be another reason, is that they could have dipped out of this relationship even before the relationship ended. All right. But chances are, yeah, they moved on quick. Well, let me say this. That could be a seventh reason. I might add this into the title, is that this relationship was not a relationship for a long time. All right. You guys were just going through the motions, doing the things. And when you finally decided to get the divorce or to break up, even though it's shocking to the system and it is a grieving time and there's a lot that's happening, that person may have emotionally moved on already. They might have dipped out on this relationship for whatever reason. And so, yeah, they may be ready for a relationship. However, if they've not done the appropriate processing of your relationship and really healed through it, they're going to bring wounding that they brought into your relationship into the next relationship as well, for the universe, God, to help them to heal those things. Okay, because our relationships are curriculum. They are assignments. They are classrooms for us to see ourselves reflected back to us based on what we energetically attract to us, but also based on their feedback of their experience of us. So if that person has not done their appropriate and proper healing work, they're going to bring all of who they were into the relationship with the next person. And many times we think from the outside, especially because of social media, people are like, oh, they're posting, they're in Maui. Oh God, now they're in New York City. And oh, now they're this. From the outside, it might look like everything is great and roses and dandy, but is it really? Okay. All right. So the number one thing that I want you to take away from this, now that I've set you up for all these reasons why this is no indicator of your worth, this is no indicator that you're not enough. The number one thing that I want you to step away from this is that stop focusing on your ex. I know that sounds like, but I want to focus on my ex. I want to figure this out. Hopefully you figured this out, but stop focusing on your ex. Every single day, we only have a certain amount of really great energy, right? Because we're people that require refueling, all right? So we only have a certain amount of energy that we are expending out into the world. My question to you is, do you want to spend that precious, precious resource of energy focusing on your ex? Or do you want to spend that precious, precious resource of energy focusing on healing yourself? I spent a lot of time in my life. I spent decades focusing on the other people, thinking I could change them, thinking I could fix them, figuring, blame, blame, blame. It was all their fault. But when I stopped doing that and I started focusing on me, I started to heal. I started to change. I started to evolve. My self-worth improved, my confidence improved, my life in general improved. And to this day, if I find myself, let's say I'm talking to someone, they're talking too much about other people, because sometimes people need to process through their own stuff. But if I see them stuck in judging somebody else or consistently talking about somebody else, or, and I may talk to them a little bit about it, but if this is consistent, I will pull out of those conversations and say, I'm not going to talk about this, and this anymore. Because that's a lot of energy, my precious energy that I'm expending talking about places and things, situations, scenarios, and people that I have no power. So it's actually a waste of my resource because that's energy that I'm not going to get back. That's energy that was expended and went out, and it went out into the void into something. It's like burning money. Okay. It's like burning money. It's like it's going out and there's nothing to show for it. So I invite you to go within and to say to yourself, okay, I'm spending an awful lot of time thinking about Ben or Jessica or whoever it might be. You're spending a lot of time thinking about them. The relationship is over. They moved on. It's not about you. Re-listen to this 25 times if you have to. Take some notes, journal about this, and then take that precious, precious energy and start focusing on yourself. Focus on healing yourself. Okay? I like to call us self-healing superstars. We have everything it takes within to heal ourselves. I did not go to a therapist. I did not go to a coach. There wasn't coaches really around back then. And I didn't find a particular book, which is why I wrote my book, because this is a thing, okay? We are out there in the world thinking that we're not enough. We're thinking that everything everybody does is an indicator of our worth or our lack of worth. So I wrote in my book, The Recovering People Pleaser, A Spiritual Guide to Reclaim Your True Worth and Attract the Love You Deserve. I wrote everything you need to know to heal in here. Everything. In fact, someone recently said to me after they read it, they said, this is actually a guide. Like this will guide people. Everything you need to know is right here. And this is going to help you heal so that you don't repeat dysfunctional or lopsided and painful relationship patterns in your life. I did put the link here in the chat. It's go.ht/book, or you can find it below after this post, and I will put all the stuff that you guys need to know down there. So I'm going to encourage you that you bring it all back in, pull it all back in, pull all that energy in that you've been focusing out there, focusing on places that you have no power. Stop. Do yourself a favor. Be your own best friend, your own best advocate. Love yourself to the core and say, I have no power out here. I'm not going to think about these people anymore because I'm going to take care of me. I will tell you, without you realizing it, that is hands down, number one, the best possible thing you can do for yourself rather than fixating on the point that your ex has moved on. It's not about you. It has nothing to do with your worth and your uniqueness and your brilliance and your light in the world. It has nothing to do with that. Heal your self-worth, step back into your authentic nature, and you are going to call in your lifer. That person is going to be attracted to you like a moth to flame, and you are going to find your person that's going to be willing to work with you and to move through life successfully with you, because you are going to be the one that they meet and they go, where have you been my whole life? Okay, you guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. And I hope you guys got a lot from this today. And if you did, I super appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave something in comments below. I do answer all of your comments and questions if I get the notifications, because sometimes I've noticed that I don't get the email notification, but I'll get the little red dot up here on my YouTube. Sometimes it's not even there. Sometimes it's just down in the back channel where it'll say comments. I'm like, when did those comments come in? I never even saw those comments. So I do it the best of my ability. If for some reason I don't see your comment, comment again, and I'll probably see your next one. All right, you guys. So thank you to everybody for being here. So much love to each and every one of you. And be sure to check the description below because I have a free guide that I constructed that is amazing. It is called Say No with Confidence: 25 Ways to Decline Politely Without Guilt. You can find this over on my website. Actually, I'll type it in right now in case anybody is interested in, well, I'm not going to type, I'm not going to type it in. Well, I'll do the quick version. I'm in the wrong place over here. I'll do the quickie version. Kristen, if I spell my name right, that'd be great. brown.org/say no. Okay, you might have to do the HTTPS stuff with that. But if you jump over there, you can download that free guide. There's other, like 3 or 4 other free guides there. I know I have 3 self-love meditations that will blow your mind, help you reset your energetic foundation. I also have 5 supreme energy shifters to attract real love. I'm looking right here because because I printed out the PDF once. And this is what that bad boy looks like. And that actually is my daughter and her fiance. Isn't that cute? So I think I took that picture. But anyway, you guys can, I don't know, I had to reach up and put that up there now while you're on here, but it's kind of funny. So you guys can download that one because that's another one that will help you to reset your energetic vibration. Here on this channel, I'm all about resetting the foundation that you're showing up to life. If you are showing up to life from a lower energetic vibration, you're going to attract and call things to your life that is going to match that. In order to have a different experience, we have to upgrade our energetic vibration. And we can do that by all these resources that I'm talking about right now. You can find those over at my website under resources. That would have been an easier way to do this. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, remember, you matter. And there's nothing innately wrong with you. Okay. Much love, everybody. End live stream.